Sweet love.
You are now listening to the What I Need podcast. It is allowing them to feel more connected to Source, allows them to be less distracted by carnal ideas, allowing them to feel more connected to their fellow man, their fellow woman, and allowing them to feel more empathy for those that may be less fortunate. All those things coming from morning to night fasting. And again, how fasting itself is not exclusive to any religious organization. Okay, I hope I'm not being just completely ravaged here by the bit of wind that's going on outside while we go on this walk, but I'm willing to take the chance, and I like to do my episodes very freeform and alive. You know, I'm going for a walk. I have a podcast at the same time. You know, and doing both is cool. I mean, so anyway, what I wanted to talk about on today's episode is building strength, building spiritual strength. And from a direction that is considering that everything is spiritual. By that I mean really anything that we encounter and anything that we do in life does have a spiritual quality to it, an energetic quality to it. For instance, going on this walk. By going on this walk, I am producing endorphins. I am stimulating my heart rate. I'm getting a breath of fresh air. I'm breathing in and out at a pace of walking. And that is creating a certain energy in my emotional field. And those emotions and that physicality is hold on. Walking up this hill. That physicality is affecting that emotionality. We go on down into the spirituality. Because our emotions everything is really connected to in general, right? But certainly our emotional body is pretty close to our energetic and spiritual body. And that's just an example, you know. So on today's episode of garnering spiritual strength, what do we do? Like, what's our way of being? How do we show up? How do we nourish? How do we build strength? How do we recuperate? How do we recover? And when you have instituted a way of being that imparts these ideas, I feel like you really do have a benefit of spiritual strength. Obviously, we have prayer, meditation, and those are, I don't know what else I was going to mention. We're chanting mantras. We are doing affirmations. We are doing yoga, tai chi. Okay, there we go. I wanted to include some of the other things because there's so many activities and goings on that are really wonderful. There's fasting. I just spoke with my Uber driver the other day, who was celebrating and doing Ramadan. And I happened to ask him, I was like, you know, I've heard of Ramadan all my life, obviously. And I have had Muslim friends that are in the Nation of Islam, you know, as well. I practice Buddhism. But it's so wonderful to learn about other cultures and what our friends around the world are experiencing with their spiritual practice. And I asked him about this fasting. I said, to my understanding, Ramadan is a time frame where individuals, part of the Muslim faith, fast from the morning to the night. And I wanted to ask him, what does this produce for you? So I said, sir, how do you feel? What's the difference between the whole rest of the year and this tuning in time of Ramadan for you and, the people of your culture? And I'm so glad I asked that question. I'm so glad to be an individual that is not afraid to just simply ask and not, hold at arm's length different cultures and different understandings just because, sometimes before the sentiment had been, oh, well, we don't do that. So, okay, no. For what? I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and we are all trying to live this life happy, with inner peace, with harmony, internally and externally. Yeah, we're trying to get the bag. Yeah, we're trying to find a partner that is just so amazing, and it's all there, and everybody is on that same journey, really, and we are just doing our best to get there. So, as I've said on this show before, that's kind of what I see as it goes for different cultures, religions, practices, and spirituality, that they are just modes of trying to get to that place of peace, trying to understand the world around us. When logic and reason runs out, faith keeps on going. So it's always been something important to me. It's always been very important to me not to throw anybody else's understanding away or make them feel like any kind of bad or nasty way that we're different. I don't want to create a nasty, separatist, elitist vibe when it comes to people's faith. That doesn't mean I practice every single faith or religion or spirituality, but that means I have the cojones to have respect for everybody and see a high potential and high value in all beings. So anywho, I asked my Uber driver, who's of the Muslim faith, hey man, what's up with Ramadan? Like, what do you experience during Ramadan that's kind of different from the whole rest of the year? Since it's a specific month that they get to practice this fasting from sunrise to sunset, right? And that's so cool that it interacts with nature like that as well. From sunrise to sunset, we're already aligning ourselves, or they're already aligning themselves with something that has to do with nature itself. Anywho, that's what kind of sparked my question. And the gentleman said that during this time, with this awesome accent, I love accents, so he explains to me that during the time he's fasting from morning to night, his patience is increased. He doesn't fear his fellow man or have as many assumptions about people. He's able to see his fellow man and woman more as brother or sister during this time. He's able to, from being hungry, he said that when he sees the person on the street that is holding up a sign, hungry and needs food, that his hunger is understanding that hunger. So more empathy is being birthed in this time of fasting. And what else did he say? He said that he feels more closely connected with his higher power, with Allah. He said that he's looking at, he says when he sees the woman, that he's not so distracted. So those appetites are suppressed while he's fasting during Ramadan. And I just thought that was so amazing, and so beneficial to know. Obviously, fasting is something that anybody can do. It just so happens to be incorporated into the Muslim faith as a, they're like, for sure, we're doing this at least once a year because fasting has a spiritual effect on the human being, the spiritual being having a human experience. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm off the top, so bear with me. Just having a walk around here at Water Tower Park, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and just going over some ponderings with you guys today. It feels good. It feels good to express. It feels good to share. And yeah, so the gentleman, oh my God, what was his name? I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he had a great name. It was like Hashmadesh or Mahashmadesh. Really great name. And so he explained that fasting morning to night for that 30 days. This is the practice of Ramadan from the Muslim faith. It is allowing them to feel more connected to Source, allows them to be less distracted by carnal ideas, allowing them to feel more connected to their fellow man, their fellow woman, and allowing them to feel more empathy for those that may be less fortunate. All those things coming from morning to night fasting. And again, how fasting itself is not exclusive to any religious organization, yet it is a practice in specific cultures and religions. Isn't that interesting? Like, just doesn't that concept that yes, it is a part of a regimen for a certain cultural background, but no, it is not exclusive fasting to any certain cultural background. No, meditation is not exclusive to any certain culture or background. No, prayer is not exclusive to any certain culture or background. These are spiritual practices that fall into a regimen or a prescribed routine per different cultures and understandings. And this is how I'm a spiritual person, like a spiritual being. Hi! And love to be able to observe and hold respect for all of it, because they all have so much wonderful value to them and a grand reason to be respected. Faith is so important, and understanding is so important. With all that, getting good understanding, right? And these words, they still ring true because they are. So why do I bring this up on today's episode? I did want to be under 20 minutes today, so I got about 7 minutes left. What am I trying to say with this? And I'm like, literally, like, what am I trying to say with this? Continue to build up your spiritual strength. Continue to garner spiritual practice. Whatever faith, religion, spirituality that you partake in, it's doing something for you. And that's what I really wanted to, that's actually what I wanted to get on. I wanted to say that because sometimes when we're in the middle of doing our yoga, sometimes when we're in the middle of, we're praying, and we're wondering, is it working? Is the meditation really making me more of a conscious being? Is the yoga really aligning my inner energies? Is the fasting really, I'm so hungry, I feel like it does. I feel like sometimes it takes days to see it, weeks to see it, months to see it. Sometimes we do see it instantly, as well, right in the moment. Like the gentleman was able to tell me, to a random person, what is his experience with participating in Ramadan, as opposed to every other month of the year where it's not Ramadan. And he has a specific understanding and can actually feel it and express to me, what the difference is. So for all my people out there, again, no matter what your background is, I would say to keep going with those positive and enriching practices that you have. For myself, I feel so, I don't think anybody's ever said that to me, because it's not like I'm a perfect person that doesn't have issues and obstacles pop up. So, but sometimes I guess maybe what the ego and maybe negative inner voices inside have sometimes said is like, well, how's all that meditation working for you? Is it finally working? Is it finally clearing everything out of your way? And sometimes on the hard day or on the bad day, you could be like, dang, you could be like, is it working? But then on the good day, you're like, yeah, it definitely worked. And I think that's the answer. I feel like that is the answer. Like, yeah, it definitely works. And we just have to keep cultivating and building up, like we're training for a marathon, right? Like the runner doesn't just go to a 4K, 5K, whatever, 10K run and just make it through the whole thing. They are training months leading up to that race, and then they're able to accomplish and finish that race. And they also go past that finish line in their own time. It is not, everybody doesn't cross the finish line all at the same time. Everybody's crossing the finish line in their own time. But finishing the race, a lot of those individuals that train for the 4K, 5K, 6K, 10K, if they trained for it, more than likely they're finishing it. And that's what I think we have to do in regard to our spiritual practice, is train, which is participate. Participate in your morning meditation. Participate in your morning affirmations. Participate in your daily prayer. Participate in your Ramadan. Participate in your mantras, your chanting, your Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Okay? With your church, with your mosque, with your synagogue. Participate and bring out the highest good. We've got a lot to transform in this world. We have a lot to transform on the inside. And it does do something to participate in your spiritual practice and see that there are results that you're able to tell to the individual that hops in the Uber, or if you are the individual that hops in the Uber. We were two random strangers, and I was able to, be able to draw a beautiful conversation to share on today's podcast with you all. I thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the What I Need podcast. Hopefully, again, we have not been picked up and blown away by the wonderful winds of this early spring day. I am coming at you from beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan. This has been your host, King Karlton, and the What I Need podcast. Have a wonderful day, a bright and vibrant day. See ya.
This is the What I Need podcast, a shared journey exploring topics of society, spirituality, and even ways of being. Here, we speak freely and fully, from the heart and the conscious mind, in hopes to find what we need. Thank you, for your time is valuable and you could have been anywhere else in the universe. All of you are welcomed and appreciated here.